She made me give her my password. She checks my phone all the time to see who I've been talking to. She makes me check in everywhere I go.
He takes my credit cards without my permission and maxes them out. He used my social security number so he could get a student loan.
He tells me what I can wear, who I can see, where I can go. He blames me when he gets angry. Says it's my fault I make him crazy.
Whoa.
Oh, stop it.
Looks like someone needs to go on a diet.
Shut up.
Come on, don't be like that. I just want my girl looking her best. Let me see your phone.
No, you already saw it.
Give me your phone.
What?
I told you not to walk away from me like that.
I told you I had to go home.
I told you to hold on. Don't touch me. Hey, look. I'm sorry, alright? Just get up. You made me do it. I told you not to walk away from me, and you still did, alright? You know, you make me so pissed.
Hey, Dad.
Hey everybody, it's your coach for Christian life. Welcome back to our domestic violence and abuse series. Have you been on a journey with us? I hope so, because when we were together last, we talked about some of the indicators of domestic abuse and how if you're not paying attention, it will sneak up on you. Our teens spoke to us and they told us some of their experiences and some of the hardships of being in a domestic abuse and violent relationship. Did you see the ending of that video? No. Listen, I told you, tap that subscribe button. This way, you will never miss part of this journey. It's an important one, and we need you on it. So, where are we today? Part 2 of our teen dating, domestic violence, and abuse experience.
Most mothers and fathers are understandably concerned about whom their kids are dating, and here's a new reason. A survey of 11 to 14-year-olds finds more than 6 out of 10 know someone who's been verbally abused by a girl or boyfriend, and 1 in 5 13 and 14-year-olds knows someone who's been in a physically abusive relationship.
Dating is starting earlier and often with serious consequences. More than 1 in 3 11 to 12-year-olds say they have had a boyfriend or girlfriend, and nearly 7 in 10 teens who had sex by the age of 14 say they have been abused in a relationship.
There are red flags. There could be control issues. There could be the small comments that, you know, people want to just kind of play off like it's no big deal. The insults are a red flag. The taking your cell phone, looking through your cell phone and your personal property, barking at you or yelling at you, those are signs and red flags of mental abuse. It could be something as trivial that something as small as checking your cell phone, wanting to know where you are all the times of the day. And it starts mentally a lot of times with the control, with the manner in which he's speaking to you.
Warning signs of an abusive teen relationship include a change in personality, such as nervousness around the boyfriend or girlfriend, and controlling behavior, including frequent calls and domination of free time.
Her whole countenance had changed. Her whole attitude had changed, and there was just a look about her that really disturbed me. Those are red flags, because when someone is imposing on your personal space, when they're imposing on your personal time, and you're looking at it, and you can't look at it as just someone that cares about you or he's just concerned, he just wants to know. No, control issues are a red flag. Jealousy issues, wanting to know when you go out, when are you coming back, who are you going with, what time are you going to be here, where are you going to be, what's the address, and then when you leave, calling you every 5 minutes to check on you, getting in heated arguments, and it could be a simple shove or a push or a look or a threat, and it can escalate into physical abuse later on.
As we started off today, you'll see the same indicators, some of the things that people do to you in a very young age. And that's the thing that's becoming real mind-boggling to me. You know, I also experienced the domestic abuse and violence when I was a teenager. But because we have our hands on so much technology, because things are at our disposal, now when you're going through domestic abuse and violence, it's a lot more drastic. somebody's getting a hold of your social security number, your credit cards. This stuff is really serious. Did you pay attention? 11 and 12-year-olds. This stuff is serious. Those are our babies. Our babies. You are now sending your children to elementary school, to junior high school, and they're going through some of the same things that adults are going through. Did you hear the symptoms? Are you paying attention to your children? Because now there's little signs. Not only are there signs of domestic abuse that you don't understand as the person who's going through the abuse, but we as parents, we as neighbors, we as friends, we've got to pay attention to all of the things that are going on with our children, and they could be going through this abuse and we have no clue. Well, here's the problem. That's only the beginning.
My name is Angelica, I'm 16, and my boyfriend gave me 2 black eyes.
My name is Christina, I'm 19 years old, and my boyfriend choked me.
My name is Kim, I'm 17 years old, and my boyfriend threatened to kill me.
He wasn't the cute boyfriend that I had in the beginning. He became a monster. My friends used to say, oh, he hit you because he loved you. He hit you because he loved you. And I really started believing that, that it was love. That's why he was hitting me.
If your boyfriend hits you or beats you up, stay with him. He loves you, because he's risking for you to press charges on him, calling the police. A guy that's willing to do that for a girl, it's amazing. The other day, my boyfriend gave me a black eye. It was my fault. The fact that he put his hands on me means a lot to me, because that shows me that he cares. After I realized how stupid I was, I got on my knees and I begged him, like, please do not leave me. Like, I'm so sorry for what I did. Like, you gave me an order and I didn't follow it. And now I know not to disrespect him, not to talk back. You need to appreciate your man. And if he hits you, stay with him. He loves you.
Melissa Dome barely survived her high school sweetheart.
Stabbed me right here in the shoulder, right here in the back of the neck, and then he went back over and stabbed me right here by the ear.
We fight almost, twice a week maybe? It starts off by like little stuff. I could ask him to do something, he won't do it, I'll escalate it, like, okay, you better do it, and he doesn't like that, or like if he asks me to do something and I don't do it, then that's a problem.
And he'll hit you?
Yes. I pushed him away from me because he was really close to me, so I was like, can you move back, away from me? And I kind of like went like this, like move, and he was like, do it again, and I did it again, and then he punched me in my face. And then I kicked him probably about on his stomach, and then we came out of the closet, and then we stopped. Like, I guess he saw my face, and
what was
he stopped
your face?
hitting me.
What was in your face?
I had a black eye, and like all of this was blue. I had scratches all over me. Like, I'm used to us fighting. And I haven't told my mom because I don't want her to know about that. I've been like almost, how do I put it? Like strangled almost. And,
strangled?
Like, he like put his arms around me and then I like blacked out. I didn't think he could do something like that to me. And I asked him what happened and he said, you blacked out.
It was a normal day. We were having a normal conversation. And my brother called my phone. He thought it was some other dude. He thought I was cheating on him. He called one of his homeboys and said, I want you to come to my house, rape this girl, and kill her afterward. He told me to drive to his house, and he told me to park behind it because he had to get some stuff. That's what I did. He threw my phone in the woods, busted it against the tree. He went around my door, opened the door, and said, I don't want to be with you no more. I want to kick your ass. He slammed me on the ground. He knocked the breath out of me. He stood over me and looked me dead in my eyes and was like, do you still love me? He said he loved me, but as you could tell, he showed it. After he beat me to the ground, I couldn't get up. I was bruised, I was hurting, I was crying. He was like, baby, I'm sorry, I don't know why I did it. I could just look at him and tell it was fake. He was fake. I knew he was going to do it again.
Me and my boyfriend, we were going together for 3 years. And, you know, everything was good at first, you know, the buying things, doing whatever I wanted, you know. And one night, my ex-boyfriend, he called me and was like, you know, hey, let's hang out. You know, we were friends, you know, and I didn't think anything was wrong with it. So it was time for me to go home, and I called my boyfriend. I came out the house, and I mean, I could tell that his eyes were red. You know, you could just tell that he was just so pissed off, you know. So as soon as I got in the car, he hit me. You know, it was like he hit me so hard. It was like he hit me, you know, just like really hard. And like his brothers were in the car, and we drove to a park, and he dragged me out the car. He started punching me, kicking me. You know, I'm hiding my stomach, I'm screaming. You know, they're out there, they won't help me. I'm screaming, I'm like, why won't you guys help me? He'll follow me. I'll come out of school and he'll be in the parking lot. If a dude is talking to me, he'll say, who's that? Who's that? You know, everything is a problem.
I was 13 years old. I was in 8th grade. He was a compulsive liar for a long time, and at first it was verbal abuse, and then I had my son. I have a son with him, and then it became physical when I was pregnant. It started when I was pregnant. He just started hitting me in my face, particularly looking for my face, like to hit me. He threw me on the couch. I got up and I ran to my room, and he went behind me and he threw me up against the wall, and I fell on the ground. I couldn't get up. I couldn't move. I felt like I was paralyzed. And he started choking me, and I started bleeding from my nose and my mouth. And all he told me was, you shouldn't get me mad. I do this because I love you. If I do this, you'll know how you need to talk to me.
And as you saw, that was only just the beginning. It always starts off where he or she begins as one happy, loving, playful person, and then it is slowly evolves into them becoming violent and abusive. Remember the last video, how we always end up in this crazy rampage of abuse and violence. We're playing, we're laughing, as the young lady said. It starts off as a normal day. We're playing around. Everything is fine. And then all of a sudden, you look over and you see someone different. Let me tell you something. As a personal experience, the signs are visible. You really don't have to wait for the actions to begin or for the words to begin. You can just look at a person and see the difference. If you noticed, there was a young lady that said they argue all the time. This is normal. She agitates him. When he doesn't do the things that she wants him to do, she'll push him or shove him, and then this monster comes out. Are you surprised? Why would you agitate a person who you knew had a history with you of being abusive and violent? You now turn that normal, happy, chilling experience into slapping, strangulation, shoving, kicking in the stomach, and bruising in the face. This is where you get the beginning from sometimes. Now, listen, I'm not telling you that it's okay for anybody to hit another person, especially this domestic violence and abuse situation. However, do we want to wake a sleeping monster? What is this issue with he hits me because he cares? You know, he's jealous. That means that he loves me. I'm sorry, slapping, kicking, strangulation, shoving, kicking me in my stomach, leaving bruises all over me, that is not a sign of love. And we need to learn that very, very early. The lady who started off at 13 years old dating and complained that her boyfriend was a compulsive liar and he was verbally abusive. Let me give you a little piece of reality. 13-year-old boys and girls are verbally abusive. They are compulsive liars. They're not going to change because they're in the dating scene. It doesn't work like that. That's who they are. And this is one of the reasons why we need to teach our children, you don't need to date at 13. When you're in the 8th grade, That does not need to be your agenda in life. It turns into something more drastic, because instead of it getting the attention that it needs, when you see your son or your daughter misbehaving, you think that that's going to stop in the home when they're slamming doors and yelling at you. No, they're going out and they're taking it out on other people. And unfortunately, it's the people that they have made to think that they care about. That when they act out, it's just because I like you, I love you, I'm interested in you, I just had a bad day, or I did that because I was mad. This stuff is dangerous. And as we see, it's starting at a very, very early age. We need to definitely get this information out to each one of the teens and let them know this is not love. This has nothing to do with love. These people do not care about you. Anytime someone calls a friend to come over and rape someone, and this is supposed to be someone he cares about, you know that this is bad, and you know you need to get out. You know in your heart that this is bad. You know in your heart that you need to get out. That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to teach. Get out. When you speak to the abuser and you ask them why they do what they do, there are some very interesting theories behind why they're abusive. And I don't think we really realize what's on their mind. Well, how about this?
It starts off as a little problem, and then it just escalates because she makes it escalate. Leanne will sit there. If she doesn't get her way, she'll sit there and just fight on me for no reason until I react and do something. Because most of the time, all I do is just be like, just leave me alone, just stop. But it gets to the point where if I don't do nothing, she's gonna sit there and keep going. I don't have an anger problem.
When I do hit her, it's with compassion. It's not like a blow. Cause sometimes I do hit her, but I don't go for her nose or her face or something. I get it to get her attention. I'm still rational about it. I don't go crazy to the point. She's never been to the hospital. I never broke her leg or bruised anything. Not to my knowledge. And she doesn't see that if she just went along with things, everything would be okay. Sometimes I say to myself, no, there's not ever a time where you should hit a woman or anyone. But it's just, what should I do? Sometimes I think about that captain on a ship. If he doesn't discipline his men, what happens? We lose the war because the men didn't listen to obey his orders. But I'm not saying that it's my job to discipline her. But should I just let her run over me?
An abusive person will always justify their behavior and their actions. They will always point the finger. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for her, had you not done, had she not done, look what you made me do. They will never accept ownership or responsibilities for their actions. I don't have an anger problem. It's with compassion. It's not like a blow. I do it to get her attention, but I'm rational about it. If she went along with it, it would be okay. What does he say when it goes this far?
What started with a date to the homecoming dance at 14 quickly turned into a relationship filled with emotional, physical, and sexual abuse.
What would he threaten?
If I don't take him back, that he'll hurt my parents or hurt my family or my friends or me. I felt like my life was in jeopardy.
19-year-old Marvin Patterson told police, quote, he decided to point a gun at Kiara Brown's head as they talked in her car.
Kiera Brown's family is left planning the 18-year-old's funeral instead of her high school graduation party. Brown's ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old Marvin Patterson, turned himself into police on Tuesday, 24 hours after Brown was found dead in the passenger seat of her white Audi. He decided to point the gun at her head, and when he did, the gun went off. He said he did not intend to kill her, and after shooting her, he freaked out and drove the car into an alley, left her there, and took off. Brown's mother says her daughter and Patterson, who graduated from Vincent High School last year, had broken up but had been back in touch recently. He asked Brown to meet with him to talk. That talk turning deadly.
Police say the 19-year-old confessed to strangling Locklear during an argument. They say he and a friend tied cinder blocks around her body and dumped her into the South River. Danielle's body was found a month later.
I know there's nothing I can do there, what I can say. Going to bring her back. I do want to apologize for the actions that I made. I know sorry doesn't cut it, but I do want to say I'm truly sorry.
Malloy pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of second-degree murder and will spend a minimum of 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
17-year-old LaShonda Childs called 911 before she was shot. She told police she had a restraining order against the suspect.
LaShonda Childs would have been 18 on Friday. Instead, she was shot and killed. Got a gun pointed to my boyfriend's head. I got a restraining order on him. Childs had recently described a series of abusive encounters with the suspect on her Facebook page.
A Clayton County family plans to celebrate their daughter's 18th birthday today, even though she won't be there.
Samaya was just 16 years old when her life was cut short in a murder-suicide in 2016. Clayton County police say the murder-suicide unfolded at the boys' home near Riverdale on October 3rd, 2016.
The pain of losing Deja Abrams is still fresh for her great-aunt Clara Butler. Abrams' body was found Monday inside this car near her mother's apartment complex. Investigators say her boyfriend, Austin Scott, murdered her before committing suicide.
She agreed to let him come over so that they could talk, and he took advantage of the situation and killed her.
18-year-old John Malarkey stabbed her 16 times and was sentenced to life in prison.
A star athlete, a cheerleader in and out of uniform. Charnay Watts' desire to never give up may have cost her her life. Police say Daniels, also 18, shot the Olympic high senior.
She had broke up with him, and she was doing good, you know, but maybe they were just trying to get back together at that time. It might be that he didn't want her to break up with him.
She was abused, but felt trapped into staying with the man now accused of killing her.
Desiree Schiffley claimed she had recently been kicked out of her house and was likely scared of Joseph Bibiano, even though she stayed with him. Desiree Nicole Schiffley's family is grieving after detectives say she was shot in the head by her 19-year-old boyfriend, Joseph Bibiano. Her body found Wednesday night in the couple's Los Lunas apartment. Yesterday, Bibiano apologized for her death and claimed he accidentally shot her during a fight.
I'm sorry. I loved her.
Schiffley's cousin Gloria Ramos says she never met Bibiano, a self-proclaimed gang member, but that she'd heard the couple's relationship was violent.
When she would come telling me about him hitting her, I would try to be there and like, that's not something you want to go back to. But deep down inside, she was always saying like, well, she cared for him and she loved him, and I think that's the reason why she went back.
Ramos and others say Schiffley told them she'd been kicked out of her parents' house and had nowhere else to go, and that they hadn't heard from her in a few weeks. Ramos says Schiffley kept much of her stormy relationship with Bibiano to herself, but that when she was on her own, she was an upbeat person. Bibiano faced a judge today for first-degree murder. The judge says Bibiano told him pretty much the same thing he told reporters, that it was all an accident.
16 years old with a loving family, a passion for animals, and a painful secret.
It started with bringing her down, her insecurities, as in, you know, you're gaining weight, just calling her ugly names on the phone.
Ashley says Aaron's boyfriend, Josh Garcia, poked at insecurities that already plagued today's teenage girls.
She believed him. And I feel like that's what happens to all these young girls. Weight is a big deal for these girls, and then even the makeup-wise, Aaron actually didn't start wearing makeup until after they were dating.
But Aaron kept up her schoolwork and seemed okay. Ashley had no idea her sister was in danger until the first attack happened.
She was starting to like push away from him. She said that they went driving around, parked the car, started wailing on her.
He was convicted of aggravated assault and given 2 years of probation. Aaron cut contact for a long time.
He made his way back in her life. She had hid it from all of us. She said, he's changed.
By the time Ashley found out, the verbal abuse had returned.
I wanted her to know that it was okay to tell me. She was strong.
Strong enough to do the scariest thing, leave.
And she was like, I want to go to school. I want to do this. She was already, her mind was set that she was done.
But on September 3rd, he wanted to talk. Deja vu. In his car again, angry she was done. Joshua Garcia's arrest affidavit says he stabbed Erin, then ran her over with his car so she wouldn't call police. She died, and he was charged with murder. Since then, Ashley has learned that every year about 1.5 million high school students nationwide experience physical abuse from a dating partner.
14-year-olds having to experience emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. At 14 years old, you're fearing for your life. We can see why. Because in this video, she was the last one to live and tell the story. Every single young lady in this video was loving, friendly, and led vibrant young lives. And they tried the teen dating game. And it sucked them into domestic abuse, violent, and cost them their lives. Even some of the young ladies were brave enough to make the decision to leave. And unfortunately, it was too late. They got talked into going back to have those conversations, and those conversations became deadly ones. They were strangled. They were thrown into the river with cinder blocks. These people are brutal. They don't care anything about you. They were shot in the head. They were stabbed multiple times. These young men are ill. They are sick. And again, when you're young and you're going into this teen dating, you have no idea of what you're ultimately getting involved in. 18, 19, 16 years old, and they're dead because they got involved with the wrong individual. It was an accident. I didn't mean to kill her. Yes, you did. Because you have been out of control for a long time. Out of control where we thought you were going to get better. Out of control where we thought it was going to change. Out of control where we thought we could handle it. We lived through it. Think about all the accounts those young ladies talked about on the Tyra show. How they themselves sat through it. And they ended up being able to walk out. Well, thank God, because unfortunately, it's not everyone's ending. This has been an extremely difficult video to make. It has forced me to go back into my own experience. It's forced me to realize that although I talked about something that happened in the 80s, although I showed you video from the Tyra Banks show that aired in 2009, we're now in 2018 and things have not changed. Did you hear the statistics? Over 1 million students a year experience domestic abuse and violence. And remember, death. Everybody doesn't walk away. Are you talking to your children? Are you talking real talk? Don't skate the surface. You really got to start asking some questions. Are we going to allow our young people to fall prey to this victimizing of domestic abuse and violence? Or are we going to take a stand and talk about it? Don't be afraid. They need us. Check me out on Blog Talk Radio. We have our Speak Out series. Women who have experienced domestic violence actually speak out. They have gone from being victims to the victor by the grace of God, and with God, they have been here to help us. They threw their hat in the ring to help us understand what is going on. And unfortunately, like I said, I experienced it myself at a very young age. It's real. Block Talk Radio, a closer walk Christian talk show. Remember, subscribe. Stay involved. You will continue on this journey if you keep up with us. I thank you so much for listening. I thank you so much for watching. Please pass this video on. It's real. And somebody you know could be dying right now.
Time matters. The longer abusive relationships go on, the more dangerous they become.